Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this HOW Interactive Design Conference Makeup session. My name is Laura Yu, Content Development Manager with HOW. In a couple of minutes, Associate Professor of Design at UMass Dartmouth, Laura Franz, will present her session on finding, testing, and using web fonts. Before we get started, I just want to mention a couple of housekeeping items. Everybody who's calling in today is on mute just to avoid distractions, but if you have any audio or visual issues, there's a questions box on the right-hand side of your screen, and you could submit any issues that you're having there. And then additionally, if you have any questions that you would like me to ask Laura, if we have any time for a Q&A at the end, I'll try to get to those. And then I also just want to remind everybody that the session is being recorded, and you'll get an email in the next day or so that has the links to the recording. So with that, Laura, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you very much. So welcome to the session on finding, testing, and using web fonts. My name is Laura Franz, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to join you in San Francisco. If anyone has a question after this presentation, please feel free to email me. My email address is at the bottom of the screen, and I'll provide it at the end of the presentation as well. With me today is Daphne. She's my Golden Retriever Saluki mix. She's not interested in web design or fonts, so we probably won't hear from her, but if the UPS man comes, she's going to bark like crazy, so I just thought I'd let you know that she's here in advance. Now I know some of you already use web fonts and are ready to jump right in, and others are just getting started. So I've provided varying levels of information today, and I hope everyone takes away a better understanding of web fonts. We'll be answering some of the big web type questions like, where should I get my fonts? How do I make sure they're good? How do I make sure the different weights and styles of a font work properly? What fonts are other people using? And what's the best way to set my fallback fonts? We're going to get to all of these things, but first, let's cover a couple of basics to make sure that everyone has the same vocabulary. We're going to start with the overall system, made up of the designer, or web typographer, who writes HTML and CSS, and the web typographer specifies the fonts she wants to use. She puts the files up on a server where they can be accessed by browsers, and in this case, the browser is on a laptop. Now, a browser is like a filter. It takes the syntax and turns it into visual content. So the font the designer specified should just show up on the screen. In the olden days, browsers could pull